You're watching Oilers Nation every day with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you can just go ahead and outright cancel it. Yeah, no, I won't be needing anything like that. No, the parade's off. Okay, thank you. Let's get into it with the lead. We have no hope.
Love hurts. Love scars. Da, da.
We covered we don't know the rest of the words after that.
Ooh, love hurts.
Welcome into Oilers Nation every day, live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online at sportscloset.ca. The show, also a presentation of Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Speaking of never ordinary, I'm done. I'm out.
I'm a little upset. I've been thinking about early May. I don't know. Where could we go?
Oh, that's actually a good question.
My Kelowna trip, does that come in May now rather than mid-July? God, there's lots to think about.
So, again, they'll make the playoffs, so game one will be there. 1, 2, so they're done in 10 days. So, yeah, early May's safe.
Yes.
Maybe like a Friday, Monday to Phoenix.
Damn.
Round trip, 355. That's connecting, though. You don't want that.
No, you don't.
Oh, but if you go to Tuesday, you can get it round trip both ways, so extended.
Easy peasy. 1 week.
I was just thinking maybe a quick 4-dayer. Nothing
you could
crazy.
go to Tiger Woods' mini golf thing that we went to.
Love that.
That was a lot of fun.
Yep.
Just visit the Mullet Arena.
Seven's comment just reminded me of this. Remember last year when we had the Macklin Celebrini Photoshop?
Oh, yeah. Pull that back up. So who's it this year?
Matthew Schaefer. Oh, the puck-moving defenseman. You could trade Bouchard.
Damn, that would be... I just wrote a Bouchard article yesterday.
I'm sure it went over really well.
Oh, of course. But I think I was pretty neutral in there.
Man.
Do you know, actually, it's interesting. I was looking at... to get into Bouchard again.
Why not? Why not?
I was looking... There's this speculation that he wants the Rasmus Dahlin money, right? Like upwards of $11 million.
Yeah.
The summer of 2022. Do you remember much about that summer?
Oh, God.
Summer of 22.
So 2 summers ago.
COVID.
Still a thing?
Yeah, still COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, mask on. Bucket mask off.
Yeah. Yeah. Mask on and off. Whatever you wanted to. Whatever you were fighting for those
vaccine
days.
record or vaccine passports.
Yeah, I remember lining up outside of the Expo Center.
Get your vaccine passport.
Northlands.
Fucking cheap.
Yeah, that was huge. Okay. But that year, obviously Nurse got his deal.
Yeah.
Seth Jones got his deal. Zach Rowensky got his deal. And Charlie McAvoy got his deal.
Everybody's getting paid.
What do those guys all have in common?
They're defensemen.
They're the same age as Evan Bouchard.
Oh, like that's how old they were when they signed?
Yeah, they were all at 24, 25, and Bouchard will be 25. So
All right.
probably looking at a minimum of, 9.25.
I'm sure that'll
actually
go over
played
well
well.
after we get bounced in the first round.
Yep, that'll be huge. Haichi played well yesterday, all jokes aside.
He had a great. He's actually been great for like 4 straight games.
He's been really
He's
solid.
probably been one of, next to Draisaitl, he's probably been their second best player for the last 4 games.
Yeah, him. Wallman would honestly be the only other one that I've been like happy with. But standards are pretty low right now.
So how do we want to go about this? Do we do scoring summary, then one big take?
No. One big take, because it's definitely going to lead to the scoring summary.
Okay, so let's start with that. One big take for our friends at Service Credit Union, where the Service Big Share contest is back. It's better than ever, and it's your chance to win $1 million just by saving money. Every $500 you save gets you 5 entries into the Service Big Share contest, and anyone can enter by becoming a member and saving with Service. Double your entries when you invest in a registered account like a TFSA or an RRSP. Invest in a GIC as well, or fast track your savings with a high yield savings account. For more information, go to service.ca/win. Contest ends April 30th, 2025. Skill test required. Here's my one big take. This team is lifeless. That's kind of like the one line that sums it up. They are down by a goal yesterday, late in that third period. When did they get their final shot on net?
When we were looking before, it was around the 2-minute mark.
2 minutes and 11 seconds to go. They get their final shot on net. Can you show me the screenshot that Liam sent you? 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Should you have a sense of urgency? Should you have guys crashing the net? No, just throw one on net. And as John Goins likes to say, who's in frame here? This puck is going back to the blue line. There is a defenseman that's going to try swoop in and keep this in. You have 2 players in frame.
I believe that's Skinner and
I think it's
Arvidsson.
McDavid. I think it's Skinner McDavid.
Is that okay?
Yeah. You have 2 players in frame. This is when your last shot of the game eventually is a point shot like 5 seconds later or whatever. Man, and someone says this isn't even a big take. It's blatantly obvious. It is. And I tweeted it yesterday, and I can read that one verbatim. I said, this is bleak. Depth players can't do jack shit. Cannot generate anything. And we'll talk about some numbers we looked into in a bit. The star players, I've watched the last 2 Boston Bruins games.
Which they've won.
Which they've won.
With basically
not last night's game.
They beat Tampa, and then they beat Florida as well.
They beat Florida.
So they've
Come
won
back
2 of the
victory.
last 3 after trading at the deadline.
If you have the ability to go back and watch hockey games, if you're someone watching this show, go watch David Pastrnak in those 2 games. He is fucking hammering defensemen into the end boards. He's chipping pucks. He's the definition of being on an island with that Bruins team right now, and he is doing everything he can to drag them into the fight. When was the last time you saw anything like that from one of the Oilers stars? And I'm not saying just Connor or Leon. I'm including Nuge. I'm including Hyman. Like, this team's best players, a hard physical play. When was the last time we saw a scrum after a whistle? We don't see anything of that ilk. Absolutely nothing that leads you to believe that this team in that room wants to turn things around. Not one piece of nothing.
Yeah, you're definitely not seeing the physicality from the stars to the extent of David Pastrnak. I think another thing they're kind of having a problem with in a way is they're kind of like, at least in the last week or so, I know that one road trip out of the 4 Nations is kind of its own little island, but they're in these games, and I think the problem is there's almost the fear of putting yourself in the box again. You know what I mean? If you're like a depth guy, for example, of like, okay, they need me to score. I'm not scoring goals. I can't go out there and take a roughing penalty, or do you know what I mean? Something
But
like that.
You can go hard to the net.
Totally, yeah. You can do stuff like that. And again, we'll get into it in a little bit, but like the difference between that Dallas game on Saturday to the game last night, after rewatching some of the moments from that game, is like the effort is literally the biggest part of both of those games.
Yeah.
Effort is everything for the Edmonton Oilers right now, both positive and negative.
Yeah.
And most nights, unfortunately, it's just been glaringly negative. And look, I don't think these guys are going out there and not trying. I think they obviously need to go out there and try.
They just have no fight.
They just don't have it in them right now. And there's always a belief with the Oilers that at any moment they could turn this around and put it into an 8-game win streak, which they totally could. We saw it last season, obviously. We've seen it this season after a poor start to the season. They were strong through to mid-January, let's call it, maybe a little earlier than that. But right now, it's just you look at this team, and obviously there's the complaints about Knobloch, complaints about the goaltending, defense, forwards, and like that's everything. So where's the positive? I'm really, really struggling to find the positive.
There isn't one.
There isn't one.
So you and I prepared for this show.
Believe it or not,
yeah. Liam's got his notes. We went back and we used our the little scouting tool you have.
Yep, shout out Instat.
We just went and watched every shot on goal that they had in that game last night. Once we did it 10 minutes before the show. How many times, Liam, from our in-depth research, did an Oilers shot on net turn into a second opportunity?
So another thing to note on this is we were probably a bit too generous on some of these.
We graded nicely.
And the ironic part about all of this is they were actually better last night than they were against Dallas.
Surprising.
However, these all came in the third period besides one screenshot. Everything else, and sorry, one of each. 1 second chance and one screen. Mm-hmm. They had 5 of each last night. They all came in the third period besides one on both. Yeah. Against Dallas, I had them down as 4 screens and 4 second chance attempts.
Yeah.
However, a big caveat in this is the Dallas game, while maybe they weren't generating a second chance, that was a shot on goal, they were hustling to pucks so hard and regaining possession on I would say like 60% of their shots. They were getting the puck back, reloaded, and so the way this instat works is it skips right to another clip. They were then basically in the same clip, just skipping right over a couple of seconds, and it's right back to where it was. So while these numbers don't line up perfectly, the Oilers actually got goals on these chances against Dallas. Last night they got a goal off Bouchard, and again, these numbers are probably much lower.
Yeah. So they had 33 shots. To give everyone sort of the base level numbers again that we found, they had 33 shots on net. Of all the shots from the point, only 5 of them had something that we deemed to be a screen in front, traffic in front. On 5 of your 33 shots, there was traffic in front of the net. That right there boils right down to the give a shit meter. And there were times, too. There was one where Corey Perry's standing next to the post. Zach Hyman, don't know what's wrong with him this year, just as guilty as anyone else. All the other skill guys, Victor Arvidsson, I swear to God, he's allergic to the home plate area in front of the net. He won't go there.
Against Dallas, he was actually a guy who was getting those chances, at least like taking it, like his goal was, while probably not, I don't remember if I deemed it as a screen attempt, but like, remember his goal against Dallas, like that came from screens in front of the net, causing a bit of chaos, and then they were able to pass it out, and he was able to get the shot off. Like, it's just not happening. A lot of the shots we saw last night were guys coming in down the boards and just shooting it right at Allen. Like, Allen did make a couple of good saves, don't get me wrong, he had a decent game, but like, the Oilers did not make life difficult for him last night. And last night, the New Jersey Devils won that game because they caused so much chaos in front of Stuart Skinner that the Oilers couldn't push Nico Hischier out of the way.
So, again, 5 of their 33 shots were screened, and we counted 4 second chance opportunities. Hyman had one in the first, Skinner had one in the second, Dry had one in the second, Henrique had one in the third. They threw 33 pucks towards the net. 5 times there were traffic, and 4 times they were able to get a rebound second chance attempt. Like, it's just mind-numbing shit with this team. And you sit there, someone said the second period put me to sleep. Yeah, I don't blame you, because this team does not play inspired at all. Years prior, they'd be down 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, and you'd be like, we're probably getting 2 back in the second period and making this a hockey game.
Years prior, a month ago, I felt this way a month when they were down against Toronto. I was confident they were going to come back and win that game. They were an offside away from tying that game up and going to overtime after being down, 4-1 or whatever it was.
That was a great comeback.
And there was so many times, and since, hey, let's call it January 27th, the last time the third last time they won a game in regulation against Seattle. Since then, this team has just absolutely collapsed. Honestly, you could even go back further than that. Probably the 6-2 win over Vancouver. Just the effort and the determination to try and win some games is caught up to them. I think the season has been lackluster overall, and the idea of we'll get to the playoffs, and I know none of them have openly come out and said, like, we're just waiting for the postseason, but like, it's an assumption, and we're all pretty aware of that's what's actually going to happen, and then just to be like, oh, here we go, Oilers in 4 against the Kings, because that's what we all thought. Yep. Damn, they might not even get home ice against LA Kings this season.
They're not going to. Okay, let's keep talking about the game last night. Jason Demers is going to join us in about 5-6 minutes. But first, the scoring summary for Charm Diamond Centers. Find them online, charmdiamondcenters.com. You can get a custom ring built and delivered in less than 4 weeks through Charm and the Masterpiece program. You can also apply for a Charm Diamond Flexity card, which allows you to get 0% financing on your purchase in minutes. charmdiamondcenters.com. The Oilers go down 1-0 in the second period of this hockey game. Brett Pesce finds the back of the net. I called this one a fluke goal because, I mean, it kind of was. Like, I actually feel like Edmonton took care of everyone that they were supposed to, but then you just watch Brett Pesce sneak in, and this puck only bounces to him because it goes off an Oilers skate and literally right to him. So, like, I give New Jersey credit for this one. Brett Pesce, good awareness, go to the net, pick up a loose puck. This is a lesson in you make your own breaks and you make your own luck. Oilers, if you go to the net and you get, what was this? A second chance opportunity in the blue paint, you're going to get goals. Figure it out. But they're down 1-0 on this goal. Didn't have a massive problem with it. My massive problem was with the fact that they go down 1-0 after, I'd say, controlling the game to that point.
Yep.
And it takes Chris Knobloch 0.1 seconds to go nuclear.
Yeah, he didn't hesitate to pull the trigger, did he? It's, I'm on both sides of the fence on this one, because on one side that I'm like, okay, like, I want to see this team gel because you know that if the depth is there, they're going to probably win more games than not.
Yes.
Dallas, example.
Yes.
But also, too, like on the flip side of it, it's like this depth and the wingers specifically is just playing so poorly that I don't have too much of an issue as like maybe I would have in the past at this current moment.
I have just a massive, massive problem with it. Again, let's go back to that Dallas game. Wyatt Johnston makes it 1-0 on the power play. And then go look at who scored for the Oilers. Connor Brown, McDavid from Nuge and Hyman kept that top line together. Arvidsson from Bouchard and Draisaitl kept the second line together. Hyman from Wallman, Hyman from McDavid and Nurse. Like, you kept your lines together against Dallas and scored 5 straight goals. And for some reason, Chris Knobloch is coaching like if he loses a game, he's going to get fired. He coaches scared. His tail is tucked right between his legs the second the other team goes up 1-0. It worked against Dallas when you kept everybody separated and you rolled with your lines. And last night, he gets scared for some reason, and I really don't understand it. And, I mean, of course, right after I tweet out, why are we going nuclear? The nuclear option ends up kind of working. And McDavid finds Draisaitl, who finds the back of the net. 47th on the year. Oilers capitalize on a turnover by the New Jersey Devils. A world-class shot by Leon Draisaitl. One that if Stuart Skinner gave that up, you'd all be roasting him. But again, I'm fine. It's whatever. But the Oilers make it 1-0. Or, sorry, tie the game up 1-1.
A great job by, is that Kulak, I think it was, to keep the puck in the zone. That's been another problem, too, is like they're very much one and done in the offensive zone. So to kind of get them back in the transition, a bit of a mess for them. And then obviously when you have those three on, that's what can happen.
Yeah. The Oilers then, again, take a lead 2-1 in this hockey game. Evan Bouchard, third period, 4 minutes and 18 seconds in after the Oilers thoroughly dominate New Jersey for the first, again, 4 minutes of this period. It is what? A point shot with not just one layer of traffic, a second layer of traffic.
Whoa.
Holy shit.
That is bonkers.
Go to the net.
Play it again.
Get in front of the goalie's eyes, and pucks will go in. They can do it.
It is hard to believe, isn't it? Look at that thing of beauty. Now, that is the good old hockey game,
and
folks.
Let's go back to Buffalo. They scored 2 goals from the point. One of them, Darnell Nurse, through traffic.
Well, no. Hey, I got another one for you. When they played Carolina the other week, they've 2 goals were on the doorstep. They were in the crease.
No shit.
Do you know
Adam Henrique just went to the net with his stick on the ice, and boom, he got a lucky bounce.
This game's not that difficult.
Nope.
We just make life very difficult for ourselves. Damn, that's a good. Look at that. Honestly, like, as much as we're joking about it, that is all they need to do on like most nights to win games, because we're gonna see it right away. That's all New Jersey did.
Yep.
They basically took away Stuart Skinner's eyes, and sure, we can sit here and debate if Skinner should have had 1 of them, 2 of them, whatever it was, but also too, the New Jersey Devils did an awesome job of making life difficult for Skinner, and the Oilers defense did a piss poor job of preventing it.
So 2-2 goal, Jesper Bratt, 90 seconds after, or a little bit more than that actually. 152 seconds to be exact, after the Oilers took the lead. Jesper Bratt gets it right back again. This is just traffic. And we can talk. Someone was like, hey, Max Jones' turnover cost them the game. Stuart Skinner not making another save cost them the game. And I don't know. This is just, again, they couldn't clear out the front of the net. And even on the Nemec goal to make it 3-2, we don't need to relive it. It's just you can't take care of the front of your own net. You play soft. And the other team goes traffic in front and wins the game. Like, also, I'm pretty sure both of these shifts, this was the one with the 4th line, right?
Yeah. Look how pinned back they are,
yeah,
too.
This is Podkolzin, Nugent, Brown. And then the other one was the Max Jones turnover that the 4th line is on the ice for. But even this one here, this is the, again, example of don't go nuclear. Because why are these 3 guys on the ice? If you have McDavid and Draisaitl on the ice, one of them can basically always be out there, and you don't have this sort of a problem where Nuge, Brown, and Podkolzin are running around like crazy.
Aaron, when Nemec gets the puck back. There we go. That's good stuff. When he gets it back, let's just look at the way that the players are lined up. Like, they're also causing, like, way too much traffic themselves, and I know this comes down to the Devils also making it chaotic, but there's got to be some communication. Like, Nuge, step up. Like, Podkolzin's in no man's land because he has to chase between 2 guys. Like, you should be stepping up and trying to block that shot too. And I know they did a better job yesterday of blocking shots, but this to me is just another sign of a team who is a little out of it right now, and
a lot out of it.
Yeah, and just lacking a bit of chemistry because of these constant line changes, and it's frustrating because Knobloch, it wasn't that long ago, I think it was right after the Four Nations, he's like, we're going to keep things a bit more simple here, and there's a lot of comments right now of being like, fire the coach, Knobloch's the issue. It's like, I don't think he is that much of an issue. He's a defensive-minded coach, and the offense is definitely evaporated maybe because of that, but also too, like, they're not even executing defensively, and we can put this on the coach as much as we want. It's like simple plays that are happening. Like the second goal, I think Knobloch even called it out. He's like, you have our fourth line out there against the top line, and we're trying to make plays. Like, get that puck deep. Like, there's no need to try and take it around whoever it may be. It's frustrating.
Frustrating. I'm happy it's Friday.
Won't
have to talk about this team for 2 days. That's great. In the meantime, let's go to the Star Mechanical Guest Line. It's Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company, one of the city's largest locally owned and operated companies. Star Mechanical, whether it's 24/7 emergency service, residential, commercial, they can do it all with their massive crew. Shout out to my boy Red. Let's bring in Jason Demers. JD, we are down in the dumps today, man. This team is broken.
You need a hug. You need me live and in studio right now because I need to come and give you just a little bit of a hug. It's all going to be fine. It's just hockey, guys.
This was supposed to be a cup year for the Edmonton Oilers. This was supposed to be a year where they just come out of the gates after losing in Game 7 last year and go foot down, show the league they're the best, win the division, win the conference, try win the President's Trophy. And to see them be at the point they're at right now where it's March 14th and we spend the first 19 minutes of this show talking about how they don't go to the net, they don't clear out their own net, they don't get second chance opportunities. Like, do you think I don't know if this is too harsh of a word, do you think their effort problem can be solved? Because that's really what it feels like it is right now.
I mean, we talked about it. We talked about it when I was in Ottawa, I think, and how just the lack of attention to detail defensively has really started to become very apparent. And I think that's the scary thing for me, and it always is. Like, the easiest thing you can do in hockey if things are going bad is defensively get tight, and whether you're not scoring or not, but just not giving up glaring chances and committing to defense. And I always say is commitment to defense, and when there's, I just saw Liam showing talking about the clip of their last goal, the Nemec goal, and right there, that's a lack of communication and also a lack of effort and a willingness to one, be in the lane defensively and make sure you're blocking that shot. And you see a lot of those pucks from the point get through. If you're watching their last few games, especially against Buffalo, the two big things I noticed with the Oilers is it's still clear since I was in Ottawa is rush chances. There's no sort outs on the rush. Coming back, they allow way too much second and third waves. And then when you're watching this, like, there's a switch off between Emberson and Nugent Hopkins that's supposed to happen right there. Emberson, I'm assuming, just watching this, they're running a hybrid. They're running a hybrid zone. So Emberson's supposed to take Jesper Bratt. If he can get him by the tops of the circles. If he doesn't, he's supposed to fold back, and Nugent Hopkins is supposed to jump out. Now, you can see clearly, I don't see any communication, nobody yelling, and then Podkolzin just gets caught in the middle. And there's not much he can do there. So there just is, like, we're going to watch right here. Like, Emerson's coming up. And right when he peels off, if you pause it there, if you go back a little bit, I don't know what's your capabilities. Pause it right there. Right when he comes back, you can see that's like his point in his zone. You got to come back to the net, and you're looking for a man net front. Now, the guy that he's supposed to go take is probably Timo Meier. But the issue is that Nuge is already on Timo Meier. And Podkolzin then tries to trap down. So now he's stuck because he leaves his guy, which is Nemec, but that's part of the system. Is you're supposed to trap down to create a turnover. But once this happens, he should stay on Nemec and just allow Bratt to take that shot from the point. So it's like 3-4 mistakes compounded, and there's not enough communication. They seem like they're all in the right spot, but now it's just one guy trying to do another guy's job, and then that's just where a trust factor needs to happen as well between the guys. Like, you got to trust that the guy next to you is doing their job, and you got to do your job. So like when you start chasing and you're looking and you're panicking and you're trying to make up for a mistake, or you're thinking I can do two jobs at once, that's when things start going wrong. And that's the problem. And I think sometimes it happens is that's just a little bit of panic within the team. They're not winning. They're not where they want to be. So now guys are trying to play outside themselves. And that's where everybody just needs to come in the room and say, boys, like calm down. Like, we're okay. Like, we're going to make the playoffs, but like you can't flip it on like a switch. We have to just honestly relax, play our game, get back to our game. Stop trying to do, hey, like Pod Colson, stop trying to do my job. And if I'm Emerson, I'm like, hey, I'm going to do my job. You worry about your guy, and it's all going to work itself out. So it's easy to see when you really pull back. Like, it's easy to get frustrated, and a lot of teams do. But this is a team that has enough leaders in there that should be like, boys, like take a chill pill. Like, we're going to be fine. Everybody needs to relax. And sometimes, and this has been a long-winded answer for me, but I always look back at what's the coaching staff doing to calm things down. I don't think him going in the media and saying we're fragile over and over again is something that really echoes confidence in your team. And I also I think fans are nuts to think trade him. I mean, Edmonton can't keep doing this where 1 year with a coach and then as soon as it goes bad, fire him because they think it sparks the team. I just think they need to have way better communication from coaching staff to players. And then the players need to be like, listen, we're going to be fine. And it's all going to be good. So just take a goddamn breath.
It's just so interesting that it's happening at this time of year. Like, we've seen this happen at the start of seasons before, and there's the idea of like, okay, well, it's kind of a new group. Maybe they have new systems, but we've seen this team do really well, and now it's just all falling apart so quickly. But the three forwards who were on the ice there were Brown, Nugent Hopkins, and Podkolzin. And the idea of that trio being together is just baffling to me. And it's because the option of going nuclear all the time just seems to happen instantly. Like, what do you make of that decision by Knobloch to just consistently go to Draisaitl, McDavid, and Hyman, even when it seems unnecessary to do it?
I don't know this, and we talked about this early on when we started our journey together, and what a beautiful journey it's been. But how it's just so enticing for a coach. You look on the bench and you see two of the best players in the world, if not the two best players in the world. I'd probably say, McKinnon and Makar, and those guys are up there, but like two of the top 10 players in the world. It's so hard not to put them together when things go wrong because they do have success together. Now they're not having as much success together as they've had in the past. So I think you need to be cognizant of a coach is like, you can't just revert to that. You have to finally find something that works on this team consistently. And if it doesn't work, and I remember, Ty, you said something good at the start of the year, is you're like, just let it run for 5 to 10 games, because what happens is now you get closer to the playoffs. It's not going well. You start reverting back to that because you haven't really given the lines enough time to gel, because you're jumbling up and you're going, okay, we can go back to nuclear when we need a win, when you should have taken the first 25, 40 games of the season to find what you have top to bottom. Because now you're trying to put it all together late in the season, and then that always scares me because you want to make sure you're firmed up on you want to make sure you have your set of 4 lines that you can go to, but then you want your plan B, which is like, okay, if this doesn't work, I could maybe throw Leon, I could throw Jeff Skinner down on the 4th line, and I can throw Pod Colson on the 2nd, and that'll spark something because we've done it a few times, versus the only line they know that kind of works is, McDavid, you put Leon and Connor together, but that's come playoff time. Why they had such a good run last year is because they were getting 3 lines, at times 4 lines of offense. That Brown line was a machine come in the playoffs. And, you had Dylan Holloway contributing, and now you're not getting that as much. So it's scary because, and you go back to the bigger issue was the moves they made in the offseason. And then I think the moves at the deadline, is it what the team needed? We're going to find out. But they spent some capital to get some guys, and hopefully it does work out. But, you also got to understand the heartbeat of this team and how this team works, and maybe bringing in the wrong pieces won't gel in time. And this could also just be the time where things need, I'm not a fan of trade deadline moves, like big ones, because it takes time to gel. And it sometimes gets scary because things just kind of fall apart like it looks like. And then they figure it out come round one. But I just never liked it because I want teams to you need time. Like, you need time for everything to kind of to mix well together.
On that note, I mean, we're waiting for Trent Frederick to make his debut. It sounds like that'll be at least a week away, probably 10 plus days away. So he's only going to get in a couple of weeks of regular season hockey until the playoffs. But Jake Wallman, I know it's a guy we talked about potential fits on the San Jose Sharks leading up to the deadline. It was like, hey, are the Oilers going to go the puck mover route, or are they going to go the staunch defensive defenseman route? They end up going the puck mover route. And I will say, I want to wait until Matthias Ekholm's got a good run in this lineup and Wallman slots a little bit more properly. But what do you make of that fit early on here with Wallman in the Oil?
Well, you see the good and you see the bad, and you see when it's good, and then you also see that some of the things that has plagued him in his career. And he's a great skating defenseman, moves the puck well, plays physical like we saw, but at times net front can be just a touch light in terms of clearing out the net, but that's not his strong suit. His strong suit is going to be skating and moving, and I think to your point, exactly, like with this full six in and how's it going to look and how's it going to fit? I think it can work. I think Jake needs to be a guy that feels confident and feels like he's needed. That's what I saw from a bird's eye view of calling Sharks games. If he doesn't feel like he's needed, sometimes there will be a dip in play. He needs to be valued. So that's going to be on the coaching staff to make sure that's the case. And I know fans will be like, well, you should feel it no matter what. But unfortunately, there's different personalities on every team, and there's 26 guys, and every guy, some guys, work well when you put a boot up their ass, and other guys work well when you massage their back and massage their shoulders. And that's just the way it is. That's the way the league works. That's human nature. We're not all wired the same, and you have to find, as a coaching staff, how to push the right buttons. So I think if they can push the right buttons on Jake, and I think he is a guy that needs to feel like he's needed. And if that's the case, you'll get tons out of him. So that's just going to be on Paul Coffey and the coaching staff to kind of push those buttons. And listen, it is what it is. The trade's done. I could have told you that beforehand, but that's what they think he can help. And I do think he can help. And I saw that first game. If he could bottle that first game up, I mean, that is what you want from a D-man, but that is something that he needs to do game in and game out, because he's going to be called on upon a lot to be very, very dominant physically, defensively. Sorry, my wife's cooking right now, and it's I'm sure you can hear it in the background. It's like a jumbo jet when she's in there. She's got everything
What do we got cooking up?
She's just we're making steak and eggs, or meat people.
Good.
She's listening to a podcast, and then I know the water. I'd probably see in the back, guys like, what's going on back there? Yeah, we're cooking, or we're doing drywall work right now. One of the two. You're good. We love you.
I'm sure she's listening to our podcast anyway.
Yeah,
so it's
probably
all good.
Yesterday's episode.
Yeah, probably.
Are you going on with the oil guys? Oil? I'm like, yeah, I'm going on with the oil. She's like, oh yeah, have fun. And then she proceeds to turn the water on at 100 decibels.
We had a debate yesterday on the Calder Trophy. And obviously you see Macklin Celebrini front row, but I feel like Dustin Wolf isn't getting enough love for how well he's been this season. Like he's basically the only reason Calgary's in a playoff spot. Like, do you think Dustin Wolf should have more of a say in this Calder race, or do you think it is Macklin Celebrini's to lose?
It's tough because I have such a bone to pick with everybody that votes for the Calder, and I think I don't know who does it. And why they vote, how they vote, but if you're taking from how they voted last year with Bedard being injured and still winning, even though I didn't think Bedard deserved to win last year. I thought it was Brock Faber, even though I thought Bedard had a great year. But then Macklin should win because Macklin was hurt, and how he's produced at a similar pace as Lane Hudson. He should win. But Lane Hudson, what he's done is incredible. And obviously Dustin Wolf, I think, does not get talked about enough. And I think if he can get them to the playoffs, he should for sure be the odds-on favorite to win. I just think it is what it is. I'm biased with Macklin. I've watched him. I think he's an absolute stud. He is as advertised, and he's one of those guys that just changes the franchise. But Dustin Wolf is arguably doing the same thing, and goaltending is a tougher position because listen, you can, even though your team's really bad, you can keep your team in there, but his team is it's not the best team, Calgary, but they've done a really good job and they believe in that room, but they believe large in part because how good Dustin Wolf has been. And like, these numbers are insane for a rookie goalie, and for him to be doing what he's doing at his size and in that division and in this conference is very, very, very good. It's incredible, and it's not. To your point, it's not talked about enough. Like, I think a month ago, or like it was like a month ago, 2 weeks ago, his odds to win were like plus 6,000, and I was like, if you have any money to spend, I would be betting that number, because if Calgary makes the playoffs, he should win. Just is what it is. Like, even if Montreal makes it, I think Lane, you should consider him, but Dustin's had way more of an impact than Lane in terms of what he's done for this team. And I just think you can't not give it to him. And I think they vote too early for the Calder. I think you got to wait till come playoff time to see how it works, because he's going to be the reason that they make the playoffs.
Do you know, it was very similar numbers when he was a rookie to Dustin Wolf?
Stuart Skinner?
Stuart Skinner.
No.
Skin man, are we going into Skinner talk? How you guys feeling?
Do you know, like, believe it or not, it's a hot topic in our chat today. Like, it has been basically since October 4th. But I think, like, you look at the games, like last night, he's definitely not the reason they lost that game. He made like 3 or 4, maybe 4's too high, like solid saves. And then at the end of the game, like, they're just not helping him in front. He's not been great, but he needs help too.
Do you want me to rattle off a couple? I like to dive into some analytics stuff, and like I get access to like the Sport Logic, and I'll just get a few things that. Let me find this really quick here for you guys. Bear with me.
I can vamp.
I'm a product of my Wi-Fi, so if it's good, it's good, and if it's bad, it's bad. But
I mean, there's a lot of people who want to jump down his throat, but like he's a problem, but he's not the only problem.
100%. A couple of things that jump out, and we've touched on it a little bit today, is they're in the bottom third in the league of opposition shot attempts blocked. So they're not blocking shots, which it is what it is. Shot attempts from the slot off the rush against, their bottom third in the league. Shot attempts from the slot off the forecheck against, their bottom third in the league. Odd man rushes against, their 23rd in the league. So that is the chances they're giving up, and that is apparent. That is an analytic. That is a number that worries me. And then coupled with, they were better defensively last year, so they were protecting goaltending at times and limiting high danger scoring chances. Now they're not. And if you look at goaltending, their inner slot save percentage is top 3 worst in the league, which means there's the shots that are getting into the slot, they're allowing at a very bad clip. So that's where I'm looking. If I'm a coach, and now you could say analytics nerd, you're in JD, you're a nerd, but I take that and then I add the eye test and I look at the goals we just showed, and those are exactly the things that are popping up. So the goals that are going in are off of the forecheck, off of the rush, and the goals that are going in are deep in the slot, and they're allowing teams to get to the slot, and they're allowing pucks to get to the slot. So they need to tighten up defensively, and then they need to get saves when they do break down. So again, I think for me, offense will never be an issue for this team, even though it hasn't been great in the past little bit, but I think they'll find a way to score. They can get hot like the best of them, but defensively, again, I echo back to what I said 2 weeks ago. They need to tighten up defensively. Their structure, they need to defend with more intention and more purpose, and want to defend and kill plays quicker, and everything else will be gravy.
Yeah, like we just put a poll in our chat for our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant. Shout out Sherwood Ford. We said, what's the number one thing that needs to change for the Oilers to turn this around? And we gave everybody 4 options: goaltending, general effort, defensive play, and scoring. And the absolute runaway number one option is general effort. So that kind of tells you how the fans are feeling right now. Like 56% said general effort.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, but that, fans will always lean towards
thing, yeah.
that, and I think it's rightfully so, because they saw Edmonton Oilers fans had a glimpse into how good it can be.
Yeah.
And then now they're like, you sons of bitches, make sure you give the same effort you did last year in the playoffs. And I think it will once, I don't think it's a light switch. You can't turn it on come playoff time, but I'm not super worried about them. But we're getting to that point. We're starting to tickle the worry. Like for me, I'm still like, okay, we're good. And then 2 weeks before the end of the season, if I'm still seeing these things, I'm going to be like, uh-oh, like not good. But they'll probably end up getting LA in the first round, which is best case scenario.
Well, I was about to ask that. MoneyPuck.com has them at a 42% chance of making it to the second round of the playoffs this year. If I had to ask you that question right now, what percent chance do the Oilers have of making it to round 2? What would you say?
Well, I mean, right now they're playing LA. They do great against LA. That is kind of their honey hole for sure. And I think it's all but locked up, if you look at this, that they're going to play LA in the first round. So I think, I think the only tough thing about that is that, it's like kind of the Pistons and the Bulls early on in Jordan's career. Like LA's got a fire to beat them, where Edmonton's like, we just got to run through them again. It should be easy. And LA's kind of got a lot more at stake in terms of, I think they both have a lot at stake. But what I mean is, like, they're pissed off to no end because they keep losing Edmonton. They keep getting Edmonton. That they're probably, I'm sure both teams are already pre-scouting for the playoffs right now, because they're going to say, unless something really bad happens, there's no way that Calgary, I don't think they're going to catch Vegas right now. Vegas looks really good. Calgary's not going to catch Edmonton or LA. Just 6 points with this many games left, 18 games. It's tough to jump that unless you really go on a run. So, I think it's going to be those two. It's going to be who gets home ice. And Edmonton they're probably both pre-scouting LA right now and getting ready, as they should. But after the first round, then she gets tough.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Hey, where were you golfing this week? It looked beautiful.
I went to Bandon Dunes in Oregon. This is Old McDonald. It was five rounds of golf in 5 days. My back is on fire, but it was great. We had Alex Golgoski came with me, my ex-teammate. We went roomed on the road together. We same hotel room. We were just like back in the day, like when we were playing, and it was a good time. We golfed. It was so much fun. A lot of whiskey.
Well, we're in a curling tournament this weekend.
Yeah, Liam and I taking to the Pebble Cheat, JD.
Let's go. Taking it to the sheet. Wow. Who's the rock? Who throws the
skip?
One? Yeah, who's Skip?
Come on, you watch the show. Who do you think the Skip is?
What an arrogant prick, eh?
Yeah, you're telling me.
You've never curled before.
I'm the third. We got trained on Wednesday by Kevin Martin,
Olympic gold medalist,
and 5-time Brier champ. So should be pretty good.
You get K Martz teaching you. You can't miss. You got to throw it on the button, baby.
Yeah. I'm feeling pretty automatic.
And he's joining the show in a couple of minutes. We have our interview with him. All right, JD.
Hey, awesome. Sweet.
Yeah, you're batting lead off for Kmart.
Kmart, and hey, by the way, Sherwood. What was the company? Ford Sherwood.
Mm-hmm.
Hell of a machine.
You should see the Nation truck they got me driving around in. It's quite the beast.
Feel free if they want to send one down to me in Arizona. I'd love to take it.
All right.
Well, we'll be there in early May to come and say hello.
Yeah, when the Oilers get bounced in round 1, we're going to come down to Phoenix.
Oh, don't do that. They'll be fine. We'll win.
All right. Okay, thanks, JD. Have a good weekend.
All right, see you.
See ya.
There you go, Jason Demers, Star Mechanical Guest Line. He's also brought to you by our friends at Douglas Mattress, an Edmonton-owned company, but they ship across the country for free. It's a mattress in a box. I sleep every night on a Douglas. It is 10 out of 10. Even when the Oilers make me mad, I still sleep good on my Douglas. Their Edmonton store is now open, Manchester Square. You can find out more information online, douglas.ca/Oilersnation. You can be sleeping as good as me for just $599. That's good value for a mattress. Let's continue.
First time commenter in the chat right now, I'm pretty sure.
Who?
Lauren Kelman. His name doesn't sound familiar.
Hello, Lauren.
She says, it's tough because we haven't really been beating teams we should. I'm still believing we'll turn it around. A bit of optimism from Lauren.
We need that, Lauren.
With a Y.
Yep.
Never seen that before.
More with a Y.
Hopefully I said it correctly.
Much
Thanks for
nicer
commenting.
than Tobias, Liam.
Oh, is
What
Tobias yelling at us?
Tobias,
He's gone.
a fool.
Do we kick him?
Yeah, I kicked
Tobias
him.
Fuke?
Well, actually, he doesn't know we kicked him. He's talking to himself
knew.
in the abyss right
Oh,
now.
I love that. No, we shouldn't have brought it up then.
Damn it.
Damn, sorry.
See
Anyways,
you,
Tobias, thanks for tuning
Thanks
in.
for subscribing.
Westside Shane Demers makes me feel 10% better.
10%.
I mean, he distracted me from my doom and gloom, so.
Yeah. Exciting stuff. Thanks, JD.
All right, our poll
Enjoy
question
steaks.
for our Sherwood Ford Giant question is a Sherwood Ford Giant game day brought to you by, guess who? Sherwood Ford the Giant. 51% of you said general effort's the biggest problem, defensive play in second, scoring in third, goaltending in fourth. From this YouTube chat? Unheard of. We should have just put Evan Bouchard as an option. 90%.
14% is nuts. Honestly, like, and I would agree. Like, I don't think it is the most glaring problem, which is nuts considering, and this is not disrespect to Naeem, has been in there since October telling us how bad it is, and now I'm sure he voted goaltending, but now we're here and like there's a ton of people complaining about it, and somehow it is the least of our problems. Oh man.
Also, shout out Naeem because you went at Tobias there.
Yeah.
There's levels of arguing, but you can be respectful.
Totally.
Should we get our game notes from our friends at Sherwood Ford the Giant Nation Ballet Service? Book it online, sherwoodford.ca. What do they got to say about tonight's match? Oh, they play again tonight. Tonight's matchup against the Islanders.
Hopefully Ryan Nugent-Hopkins can keep on doing Nuge things. He's got 11 points in the last 10 games against the Rangers.
Oh hey, Giant Mike here. The Oilers are 4-1 in their last 5 games in Madison Square Garden.
Red Kulak scored his first NHL goal against the Rangers in 2018.
Shout out Sherwood Ford the Giant. Those are for Monday. They are playing the Islanders tonight. But you know what? That's on me for sending the wrong numbers over. They play the Isles tonight.
Do you send them the stuff?
Yeah, I send them to Fast
They
Facts.
play the island.
That's on me.
On the island.
What can you do? On the island. They're on Long
They've
Island.
gone from
Hey,
the Rock of Gibraltar to
we're
the
ready for
island.
Monday, though.
All I heard was, let's go Oilers!
Do they play Monday? I thought they played Sunday.
Oh, yeah, Sunday. So those are Sundays.
Well,
Can run them on Sunday.
that is
Tonight they
awesome.
play an Islanders team that is 29, 28, and 7. Islanders are very, very stinky, very mediocre. They do not prevent goals well. They do not score goals well. Their power play sucks. Their PK sucks. So the Oilers hold distinct statistical advantages in every one of those. So, yeah, this should be a
Yep,
win tonight.
should
If,
be a
if
tough
tonight's
game.
not a win, oh my God. If you
I can't sit here and say like tonight should be a win.
No, you
Because
can't.
they
You can't trust this
beat
team.
anyone.
No.
Tonight's going to be a tough game.
Yeah.
It really will be because the Oilers will make it difficult for themselves unless they play with some determination and effort. And it's that simple for the team right now. You need effort. They have Pickett tonight.
Yep.
He gave you a bad game against Anaheim, but has been relatively playable for most of the season. We'll see what happens. Can't
All
wait
right.
for Sorokin.
Don't ruin my Friday night at Greta.
Speaking of which, head to Greta tonight. If you want a shot to win your way into the Nation Vacation, this is your last chance to do so. $10 tickets, nationgear.ca. The $10 is a donation to the Ben Stelter Fund, and then join Aaron and the crew. They're out, they're partying tonight, and if it's a win, they will be partying extra hard. Presented by Fountain Tire.
I'm going to be extra positive tonight
Let's
as
go.
well. That's what sports are supposed to be fun.
So,
And I'm not having fun.
if you're hanging out with a friend tonight to watch the game, why not take advantage of the drink and food specials at Greta? Buy your $10 tickets, and maybe the two of you will be joining us in Vegas in 2 weeks. We leave in 2 weeks to Vegas. It'll be great. Make sure you got like a valid passport and stuff if you're going to come as well, because you're going to need to be able to travel. But Flight Night at Greta presented by Fountain Tire. Roll up the rim time. Cheers. This is what's going to turn around the Oilers season right here.
I feel good about this one. It's Friday.
Well,
Boys
that
are
was-
biting into him. Look at Ty. Solo on Ty for that.
No! You lost two?
I did.
Roll up
But
the
I have
rim.
one on my phone if you don't mind me just grabbing it quickly.
I mean, if you want to try roll up on your phone, go right ahead. You can roll up on the app. That is the nice part about Roll Up the Rim. It's back until March 23rd. It's your chance to get in on millions of amazing prizes with just the swipe of your thumb. An unforgettable vacation with Sell-Off Vacations, a $1,000 Rakuten cash prize, or an all-new, all-electric 2025 Volkswagen ID Buzz. Even the simple joy of winning a coffee, wouldn't know what that feels like. Can make anyone's day. Isn't making my day. Love Tim Hortons, though. Love Roll Up the Rim. And, hey, at least I get my coffee in me on until March 23rd. Rules apply. Canada only. No purchase necessary.
I got 4 roll-ups.
Okay, let's go. Let's turn things
Number
around.
one.
On the app.
on me?
Is the app going to give us what we want?
Here we go.
Dun, 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 dun.
Roll up the rim. Better luck next time.
This is
Okay.
exhilarating.
Next
Come on,
one.
roll 2. We desperately don't.
Coffee!
Hey!
Two more.
When you're hot, you're hot.
Okay, let's go. Come
No
on,
way we're winning
baby.
another one.
No, nothing on that one. Come
Last
on,
one?
more. Come on, let's get it going in the chat. Louder.
Yeah,
Louder.
if you're sitting in your cubicle, sitting in your truck, make some noise. Hey, we got one. We got one.
That's good. One
We
out of
got one.
6.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
Let's go.
Tonight's lineup, Oodle Noodle, 15 locations in the Edmonton area. Shout out to Oodle Noodle. Yeah, we're just ripping through ads. Would you expect any changes tonight for the Edmonton Oilers? Do you think they just go nuclear from the start?
100%. They need a win so bad. Those 3 guys are playing 30 minutes today, unless they get out to like a substantial lead. And do you know what I would do? I'm kind of okay with it, because here's what you have to do. Can we pull up the lines, Aaron, if you don't mind? So top line, obviously, Draisaitl, McDavid, Hyman. Second line, Nuge, Podkolzin, Arvidsson. Third line, Skinner, Henrique, Brown. Actually, Perry.
I've actually kind of liked Henrique's game recently, but
It's not
continue.
been bad. Fourth line, I would not be surprised if Max Jones or Kasperi Kapanen, either one of them is benched tonight. Yaremchuk checks in for whoever it is.
For one of them, because Knobloch kind of called out that fourth line.
Yeah, and also Jones, I know one of them is an extra too many men, but he did go to the box as well last night. And he caused a goal. Like for a fourth line player, you're essentially
Gotta be better.
-2.
D pairings probably end up staying the same for the Islanders. Top line, Duclair with Horvat and Palmieri. Pajot with Lee and Simon Holmstrom. Cizikas with Hudson Fasching and Maxime Tisplikov. Oh, my God. What is this team? Who is Kyle McLean?
Didn't he?
Mark Gatcombe?
Oh, Kyle McLean. I'm thinking Fraser McLean.
And Pierre Engvall, who is in year 2 of a 7-year deal, I think, which is hilarious.
Try number 7 again. How do you say
Maxime Tisplikov.
He sounds like a Bulgarian.
that? Guess the
Just
nationality.
off vibes? He's
well,
Russian.
Well, that's not too far off.
Yeah.
There is a Bulgarian in the NHL. Do you know who he is?
Nope.
Gorgiev.
Okay. Romanov with D'Angelo. Dobson with Pellick. Mayfield with Pulak. These feel like they're in the wrong order, Daily Face-Off. If you are playing one of Pulak or Mayfield on your third pair, they seem like a spare part. Trade them to Edmonton. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Starting tonight for the New York Islanders is expected to be Ilya Sorokin. Ilya Sorokin is a very good goalie. One of the better goalies in the NHL. His numbers this season, .906 and .277. So a bit of a down year. That's actually, it's going to be probably his worst save percentage year of his career in this, his 5th season in the league. So the Islanders have struggled this year. Sorokin hasn't been as outstanding as he usually is.
I have a fact about Maxime Sliplikov.
Siplikov.
He
Siplikov.
is
There we go.
the grandson
sounds right.
of Victor Siplikov.
Yep.
Victor Siplikov is in the Russian Hockey Hall of Fame. There you go. Played for Lokomotiv Moscow and the Soviet Union at the 1961 World Cup.
Thank you, Liam.
You're welcome.
Extra fun fact.
Brett with a comment. YouTube chat brought to you by Odd Company Brewing, by the way. 2 locations in the Edmonton area. Nation Beer Everyday Lager, delicious. Can't wait to have 30 while I curl this weekend. Please drink responsibly. Visit them at one of their 2 locations. Brett is in. McLean and Sorokin will be 1 and 3 star. Draisaitl 2nd star. McLean, first career 2-goal game.
What's his first name? Michael?
And then Kyle. And then this will be the end of the game. So the horn goes. There you go, Sorokin, 36 of 38, and the Islanders win 3-2. And
Oilers don't get a shot on goal in the final 5 minutes.
And then in the only show of emotion we get is Zach Hyman slamming the gate as he walks off the ice.
Yeah, and he jams someone's hand in the gate as he does it.
Like when Ryan Jones, didn't he like break Sam Gagner's wrist or slice his wrist or something like that?
Kyle McLean,
Fun facts?
rookie this season, 63 games, 3 goals, 8 points, minus 12 on the season. Former Brick kid. He played in the Brick tournament in 2009.
Where's he from?
Lance said, "Great horn, Yaremchuk. Thanks."
Baskin Ridge.
I'm a big Baskin Ridge guy.
He's the son of John McLean.
Like
Die Hard?
That's what I was wondering. I clicked it. John McLean played for the Dallas Stars. John McLean is currently an assistant coach on the New York Islanders.
It's the coach's goddamn
It's
kid.
the coach's kid. John
Holy
McLean
shit.
played almost 1,200 games
Did
in
he
the
play
NHL.
for the Flyers?
Okay, we got to keep moving along.
Played for the
I know
Devils.
you're loving your fast facts, Liam.
He's snapping.
Yeah, Bet365 Game Day Betting Challenge. Shout out to Bet365. Liam, breaking news from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime winner is a barn burner. Every face-off, hat-trick, power play shot on goal, penalty shot, every suspenseful moment in between is amazing. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, official partner of the NHL. Download the app, use the promo code NATION. Okay.
I have a thing for Bet365.
Okay.
Just go in the chat and guess what happened last night between Jay and I. Like, I feel like this is so predictable now.
You win, he loses.
I won, he lost.
Yep, and I also lost. But I have a bet that will almost climb me out of my hole and get me back to even money.
All right.
Dry 3 shots, Wallman 2 shots, Bouchard 3 shots. Bouch has been hammering pucks. Dry's been hammering pucks. Wallman's been hammering pucks. They love shooting from the blue line. Plus 325. Don't even need the Oilers to win tonight because I don't trust them. So that's my bet, plus 325.
I
Liam.
love that bet.
I don't know. I'd be curious to go back and look and see what, when I've bet on the Oilers to win, if I've won or lost. Because I never do it. But tonight I am going with Adam Henrique goal. Because he had the quote after the game yesterday, basically saying, like, we need to step up outside of the big boys.
I want to listen to that in a second. Jay is busy, so he just texted me back and said puck line. So Jay's just going puck line tonight.
And then you said simple man, and he said, I'm busy.
Yeah. I was like, okay.
All right.
Sorry.
Sorry, Jay.
But I like what you said about Adam Henrique. Do we have the clip of him in the locker room after the game? Because I do think this is a pretty interesting one.
We got another opportunity tomorrow, and we'll have a good pushback.
Is that a confident mentality that this group has? The fact that you just got to get a couple rough ones and
Yeah. I think it's the big guys are scoring all the time. And I think for us, it's for our liner down, the depth to try and find some ugly goals to be momentum boosters. And when it's trying to find that next one to you get the 1-goal lead, you want to get the 2-goal lead and kind of go from there and start to put the games out of reach. But we just got to find a way to get that next one.
As always. Shirtless Adam Henrique, yes. Let's wrap up the show. Keys to victory for Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Hockey fans helping hockey fans right in the heart of Sherwood Park. Liam, the Price Thaw event is on now at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. So whether you're looking for a motorcycle, a boat, an ATV, whatever to get you ready for the spring and summer, Price Thaw event. Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. They got big savings and all the accessories that go with it. Liam, key to victory.
Oh, man. Effort. Maximum effort. Maximum Jones effort.
Max effort. Yeah, like I'm kind of the same. Mine is going to be emotion tonight. Like play like your season's not on the line. It's a Friday night in New York, but I go and I watch the highlights of other games. And guys score goals and they're so fired up. They are so excited. And then you see the Oilers score a goal and it's like, hey, yeah, good one.
Way to go.
Yeah, there you go. Nice one. I think yesterday Draisaitl let out an effing rights.
When they played Dallas the other day, I did find that to be an emotional.
But
game
like
for
dig
them.
deep, find that in there. Like play tonight like your season is on the line. Like tonight is a playoff game. Like someone is getting fired if you lose. Play desperate, play emotional. Play like you want to win. And I'm not saying that they don't want to win. Like they obviously go in there and want to win every game, but like be willing to take that extra step.
This road trip can be...
It can be redeemed.
Redeemed with a couple more wins here. To come out of this at 500 isn't the end of the world.
Yep.
Going on the road and winning in any building is difficult. Unfortunately, you've lost to the I would honestly say the 2 games you probably should have won the most. I know they play the Islanders tonight, but New Jersey's banged up and they played you with a backup and beat you.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm with you. Maximum effort and just show some goddamn emotion. Figure it out.
Figure it out indeed. Show some emotion. I'm not even saying have a fight tonight. I'm saying go hard to the net. Be willing to mix it up after the whistle. Play physical. Skate hard when it's not a 2-on-1. Sometimes you just got to go in hard on the forecheck. Again, be gritty, be emotional. I just want to see that kind of an effort tonight from the Oilers. Liam, that is a wrap on the hockey portion of today's show. But we do have a great interview. We had a chance to go out and chat with, we teased it there with JD, with curling great Kevin Martin. The GOAT. The GOAT. Kevin Martin's the GOAT.
And you know what? GOAT curler, GOAT man.
Yeah, he was so much fun to hang out with for an afternoon.
He was a great dude. More than willing to kind of laugh around with us in this meeting as well.
Better person than curler?
No. That's a good pardon my take bit, where it's like they always say like athletes, right? Like better, he's a better person than player, and it's like nope, he's in the top 0.1% of his profession. He is absolutely not
allowed to be a better person.
he's not a top 0.1%. So Kevin Martin in the top 0.5% of all-time curlers, 0.1%. He is a great guy. I would say maybe like top 2% of people.
Yeah, I'd say
he's very, very kind.
Very
again,
kind.
Still a better curler.
Taught me how to curl a little bit.
Yeah, he was great.
Nuts, to be honest.
So we're going to get to our interview. First off, it's brought to you by Safeway. Think you know hockey. Play Safeway My NHL Picks for weekly chances to win big prizes like a trip for 4 to the 2025-26 season opener of your choice. A whole trip for 4. You and your whole crew going to a season opener. All you got to do is correctly pick games on the Safeway app. You could also win a bunch of scene points, plenty more grocery prizes as well. Shout out to Safeway and My NHL Picks. Download the app today. Also, shout out to the showdown at the Savile, which is why we were able to interview Kevin Martin. I'm going to sign off, though. We're just going to lead you into the weekend with the interview. So enjoy the game tonight. Pre-gaming with Bordsy. Go to Greta. All that good stuff. Hopefully the Oilers have 2 wins under their belt by the next time I talk to you all on Monday. I really, really hope so. In the meantime, oil up and enjoy this interview with Kevin Martin. Taking our show on the road. We're out at the Savile Curling Center, and we are not talking hockey as we usually do, but we're in the, I'm going to pump you up a little. We're in the presence of greatness. 2010 Olympic gold medalist, 4-time Brier champion, Kevin Martin. This is an awesome spot you guys have down here at the Savile, but thanks for giving us some time.
Yeah, thanks a lot. No, it is an awesome spot, and yeah, you're set up perfectly with the background of the ice.
Yeah, it was very easy to find a good spot here. Let me start with the Brier. Some of your former friends taking home another Brier championship.
Still friends.
Oh, sorry. Former teammates. Former teammates,
Yeah.
current friends. I know you mentioned on Inside Curling you were chatting with Ben and Mark yesterday, but what'd you make of watching them go on a nice run at the Brier?
Yeah, what a run the last 4 games. And a little, I did ask Mark about the last shot Brad Gouju, of course, had the outturn tap, which Brad would make most of the time. So, of course, I had to bring that up. But the final was, they deserved that win. Played very, very well. And they're going to represent Canada nicely at the Worlds in Moose Jaw.
Yeah, it seems like the level of men's curling is pretty high right now. There's a lot of teams. It feels like when the Brier starts, like who could win? Like, how different is it now compared to when you were playing?
The depth worldwide may have changed. I don't think Canada's changed much. Canada's always been really, really strong, no question. But worldwide, when it comes to the Worlds in Moose Jaw or the Women's Worlds in Korea, probably at least 8, if not 9 teams could win it. That's unheard of. Like, that was never the case back when I was in the Worlds, 15 years ago. There were still lots of good countries, but maybe 4 or 5. But now it's just far deeper as far as worldwide curling. But Canada's still very strong.
And you were actually talking about that before with Rachel Homan. Like it's been interesting to see, and you pointed this out, like the rest of the world has elevated, but then Rachel Homan just also finds a way to elevate on top of that.
Rachel's crazy right now. You know what? Who's, I guess, probably the Rachel on the men's side is probably Bruce Mowat out of Scotland. Right. Rachel's a level all by herself right now on the women's side, no question.
Yeah, I guess sticking with the men's side of things a little bit, going into the Worlds, who are some of the countries that have kind of elevated a little bit to get up to that level?
Well, the 900-time champion Nicodine, of course. I don't know what it is. I think he's won 7 of them and 5 in a row or something crazy thing. That's good, obviously a favorite. Bruce Mount, of course. Brad Jacobs, of course. Joel Retornaz, Italy, certainly. Switzerland, no question. Norway. U.S. Corey Dropkin, the young guns, or the young bucks. Sorry, young bucks. But anyways, so lots of teams that could legit win it.
Let's talk a little bit more about you. Obviously, you have the shop here at the Saville. You're still obviously very, very involved in the sport of curling. But what are some of the things you have going on as of late? What are some of the things that still get the juices flowing for Kevin Martin?
Yeah, that's important actually. To get the juices flowing once in a while. And the store has been awesome. It's we opened in 1991. Wow. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
What is that, 34 years, I think? Wow. Anyway, long time. Inside curling is fun. But along with that, we sort of ventured into putting on properties or putting on events as well. And so that brings us to the Showdown at Saville, which is, turns out, you never know how things are going to go. And I know a person Almo Delic. I ran by him too. It just seemed like a good idea. And none of the 4 events we're running actually have to do with 4-person curling, which is
I have questions about that. Yeah.
So that was a very important part of it, I think. The game of triples is our first event, April 4th to 6th, and that's 3 players, 6 rocks, 6 ends, maybe an hour and 10 minutes to play an entire match. Wow. 6 ends being 3 players, so 2 ends you play each of the 3 positions. Very cool game, terrific. A lot of strategy involved in just how you set the team up.
It's almost like a batting order in baseball.
Right. Yeah. It's very important to set it up properly. Yeah. It can make a difference. So anyway, that's the triples. And then the fastest growing sport is stick curling. And that's with able-bodied athletes, generally 40 and over, but also wheelchair athletes. So they play with a stick. They don't actually grab the rock with the handle with their hand. They actually use a stick. So that's that's actually going really, really well. And that's the 24th to 27th of April. And then we have a U25 mixed doubles. And the reason we did that, I'll jump ahead to the last event, and that's the inaugural World Junior Mixed Doubles, the World Championship. And because we have 29 countries coming in. That's crazy, I know. So when we first got into with the World Curling Federation to start this Junior Mixed Doubles, I was really hoping for 10, kind of. I'd like to make it double digits. That'd be great. 16 was kind of a dream. And then when World Curling phoned, entries are closed. I said, well, how many do we get? 29. I go, oh my goodness. How do we run a 29-team World Championship? That's crazy, right? So anyway, we got 29. So then once we had that many teams, we're going, well, we've got to have, because this is in May. Mm-hmm. Well, most countries around the world don't have ice anymore. So, then we better run an event right before it so that all these international teams can come over, get used to the ice, used to the time change, and all the different things. So May 1st to 4th, we're running a U25 mixed doubles, which any team in the U.S. or Canada can come. That's U25. Mm-hmm. But then the international teams will come play too. And that's going kind of off the charts, that one. So those are the 4 events. They kind of all have a purpose, but none of them 4-person curling. And none of them take very long to play. And that's kind of a direction all sports are going in. Like, how do you make baseball a little quicker? Well, you put a little clock on the pitcher. And in hockey, the brakes, the trapezoid. There's lots of things that have stopped maybe slowing down the play. Right? No putting the puck over the glass, right? That type of thing. So all sports are worried about it. Rugby sevens, good example. Beach volleyball, another good example. And curling. So triples is an awesome game. And I love, anybody that knows me knows I love mixed doubles.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of the mixed doubles too, and that's something that's taken a pretty prominent role on the world stage too. I guess maybe a question I have is, you see all these different iterations of the sport. Is there one that you think for the long-term growth of curling will have more success than the other ones, or one that's maybe needed to have more success to continue to push curling onto the main sporting stage?
Yeah, well, 4-person curling is still the big one. Yeah, there's no question, and that's great. I love it. Obviously, I love it. Played it my whole life, but I do think it's important too for youth to and even for club play to have a discipline that's quicker. Mm-hmm. Where you can start and you're done in an hour or just over an hour. Because if you look at a club like this, we got 10 sheets of ice, but most people don't get off work till 5. Mm-hmm. Now, you've got to somehow get something in your belly, so you probably don't want to tee it up or start the curling game till, I don't know, 6:15. In a regular night, the first draw would be over around 8:30, 4-person curling. Well, the next one's not over till 11. So now you go up to have a pop, something to eat or something. You're midnight, get home, 12:30, 1 o'clock bedtime. Well, geez, you got to be up at 5. That's not practical. Yeah. Whereas if it's a triples game, which is an hour and 10 minutes, or a doubles game, this is more like an hour and 18, hour 20 minutes, you start at that same 6:15, you're done at 7:30, you're done the next one by 9. Well, now you're upstairs with your friends and having fun, but you're home before 11.
Yeah.
And now you get a decent amount of sleep and you can actually live life. So that's kind of where we're sort of looking at from a club and, if you want to call it amateur or intermediate. Not, at the top end, I think triples is going to really go big top end too, just because you have to play the 3 different positions.
Yeah.
That would be I would really have enjoyed that when I played.
It's funny you say the triples. I remember when the Briar was in Lethbridge and Gushu's team won with 3 players. That was nuts. I went to that Briar and that was like my first experience of curling, and honestly one of the craziest things I've seen in sports. I was
Winning
like,
on 3.
Well, Brett Gallant, he just played
with the work.
Throw his rock and then just get up and start sweeping for himself. It was nuts.
For a week.
Yeah, for a week,
that's crazy.
yeah.
But the fitness level has to be extreme. And Brett does have that. Well, that whole team, actually. The guys that just won, they're all ripped like that. But that would be very difficult to do all the time.
Sure, yeah,
your sweepers have to be just insane athletes to do that.
Yeah.
And speaking of, I guess, the current iteration of the sport and maybe what we're keeping an eye on, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about your son.
Karek, yeah. So he didn't really get into the sport until the end of high school. He was always hockey. He played to the end of junior, actually, in hockey. Yeah. But then really enjoyed it at the end of high school, getting into curling. And then I guess kind of for fun, or he tried out for the U of A, the Golden Bears, but only had curled a couple years. But he kind of caught on to it quick. And they ended up playing 5 years with the 4 or 5, not sure, 4 or 5 with the Bears. And still playing junior hockey. So busy kid while he was going to U of A. And now, all these years later, I don't know. I think this was his 10th Briar, I think, that he just competed in. So it's pretty cool. Like, I was only in 12, so he'll pass me in a couple of years probably.
Well, I was making a reference to it at the office. When kids are growing up playing hockey, the younger brother is usually the goalie because the older brother needs someone to shoot on. Was Carrick a lead because you needed someone to sweep for you?
No. He always loved playing front end. Kark was always a lead right from the get go, but didn't play with me much. He did come as a 5th to the 2013 Briar.
Gotcha.
But other than that, he didn't play junior much. Because it didn't start till grade 12.
Yeah.
So just kind of a late starter, I guess. But there are some, if you look at different sports, there are some people that have started late. It's very kind of unusual.
Yeah.
But one thing about it, when you do start late like that, you probably aren't like most kids where you play winter hockey and then you also play summer hockey. And by the time you're 17, you've played 1 million hockey games. You're going like, oh my goodness.
Burnt out.
Yeah, but if you don't even start till you're 17 or 18, you're still excited. When Kark's 35 now, real excited to get in that Briar. So you know what I mean? You don't really run out of that passion.
Yeah, I want to ask you about, it's a growth of the sport question, but in a bit of a different way. And I mean, I'm someone who, I started curling in high school, and then after high school, didn't play for a bit, and then I started curling with my dad and his buddies. And now I curl every single week. And, I go to the curling club, and I'm still maybe one of the only guys playing on a week-to-week, or there's 4 of us who are under the age of 30, and trying to open up the sport for that younger demographic, but in like more of a casual way. What are some things you think maybe aren't done well enough to try to
Showdown at the Savil's a really good start. Quicker games.
Yeah.
So there's more time for you and your friends to have a pop or two. Yeah. The curling, like no different than golf for me. I'll play some 18-hole rounds, but I love playing 9, 10, 11. Kind of tee off around the 2:30 thing, and then get home in time to have a drink and have dinner. But the golf's a reason to get together with the friends. Yeah. But it's not the whole reason you're going. It's maybe 40%. 60%, the majority, the main reason is you just want to get together with your buddies and get together and shoot the shit. And that's really important. And I think that's a big change that needs to be made in curling, is not so structured where it's always the Tuesday night men's league, the Wednesday night mixed, the Thursday night women, whatever, right? And you have to go every week at 7 o'clock. Well, my life doesn't work that way. Like I'm running around like an idiot, but I like to play. I love curling and I love golf. And last hockey league I was in, I love beer league hockey. And but the last league I was in was always at, I think, 9 o'clock or 9:30 on Wednesday nights. Well, the last year, out of 27 games or something, I think I made 8. Yeah. Like I just couldn't, I'm just not the way my life works. So for me to be part of a structured time sport thing just doesn't work. But you want people like myself who want to play these games. And when we do, we're probably going to have dinner and some red wine. Like we spend a lot when we come, but I can't play 27 games a year. I just can't afford the time. Yeah. But when I do go, I want to have fun. So that's the type of golfer or curler we really want in the club. The person will play 6 games a year, but when they come with their wife, and they drink wine, and they have some food and have a lot of fun. That's something that, to your point, your question, I think that's really important to bring the young people in. Now, if you do venture down south, which I do a lot of teaching in the States, curling's a very young sport there. The average age, I was just talking to, where's that guy from? Anyway, short memory. Anyway, real nice fella, and I was just asking him what his average age. Seems like the average age is 35 to 40 in the clubs down south. And he says, funny you should say that. I'm 39 and I'm the president. So it's funny, like exactly that age. And that's kind of the average age of the older group. Like that is the older group down south. Wow. There's nobody else older because it's a young sport. And the clubs are over full. So I just think the fun atmosphere is very important. That's what the U.S. has happening. Not really even by chance, though, because it's just starting. The clubs are just getting going. Raleigh, North Carolina, they've been going for about 10 years. 4 sheets of ice, and a full club is 100 people per sheet. So if it's 4 sheets, 400 members, that's a full club. Well, they have 650 or 660, so they're going, well, should we expand 2 sheets off the building? Or they're thinking maybe 5, 6, 7 miles away, building another 4-sheet club, because you move 250 of them over, you're almost full. Yeah. So now you're going to have 2 full clubs, and that's kind of what's going on down south. So we need to kind of maybe sort of follow that in Canada to get more, to your point, more of the young people in. I think curling is winning in that way, getting more people, young people, but we need to do a better job.
And I do think there's an interesting trickle down of that, where even if you get those people who are playing casually and they're in their 30s, but maybe they've now been playing 5 or 6 years, then they have kids, and their kids come around the club, and all of a sudden maybe their kids are starting to curl when they're 12 or 13, and it's maybe increases just the young life coming into the sport, and then who knows, that's how you get good athletes into something, is by their parents being in it.
Well, yes, you get a certain percentage, maybe 10 or 15% that want to do it at a high level. Yeah. But then you've introduced all these kids to curling, and then you go to college. Well, you're busy. No time for curl or golf or any of that stuff. You're studying and finding a girl or a boy, whichever you are, and then you carry on. But when you end up getting married, now you're settling down, you've curled. What's a great thing to do? Go to the curling rink, absolutely, and away you go. But you haven't tried it at a young age. It's a really embarrassing sport. It's a lot like golf that way. To get into it when you're not bendy anymore, when you're say 35 or something, boy, it's tough. And no different than golf. Yeah. When you're a kid and you learn how to swing and your back bends like crazy, you can just crack the ball a mile. Try that at 40 when you haven't played yet. It's embarrassing. You can't even hit the stupid thing.
Yeah, that's good. You got anywhere else you want to go?
It's not really a question. So I live in Sherwood Park, and my girlfriend's dad and her mum love going to the Sherwood Park Curling Club in Curling. I believe Heather Nettowit is the
fantastic curling club.
Yeah, so my girlfriend is also a teacher, and she took her students there to go and learn how to curl for the day. And then it turns out Heather was putting on a class that everyone could just come for free. There's a certain age down, and the kids loved it. And I just wondered, is that the way it kind of needs to go too for these younger kids? So just almost make it free for a couple of sessions and then introduce it to them.
Pretty much every club has that.
Okay.
Well, not with the Heather Nettowit teaching.
No kidding.
That would be very unusual. But somebody teaching learn to curl for kids, absolutely. And that's where I think curling has actually become quite strong, is in the schools coming to the clubs. There's a lot of that. Right. I just think there's kind of a void in the kind of the upper 20s right now. There's just not a lot of players. Lots from say 30 to 50, and then not a lot my age actually. Because back when I was a kid, the clubs were all full. So they didn't want a bunch of noisy, rotten kids running around. So not many people my age were allowed to curl. You couldn't, because the clubs were full. So that was a really bad idea, obviously. Got more people into it. And then it kind of died out a little bit again. And then now we have tons of kids going. So maybe cyclical, if you want to think about it that way. But certainly something to worry about. Don't don't keep the foot off the pedal.
Yeah.
You're going to be going out to Korea for the Women's Worlds, correct?
Right away, yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to be leaving right away. What are you going to be doing there?
Commentary. So I was just down in the U.S. for the U.S. Olympic mixed doubles trials and for NBC, and then in Canada the Grand Slams for Sportsnet, and then World Championships for World Curling Television, which is picked up anywhere in the world by any of the stations.
When you were a player, did you ever think that you wanted to get into the commentary side of it and the media side? You mentioned the podcast as well, or did it kind of just come to you later?
It sort of popped in. I always enjoy that type of thing, so I don't think that was a strange thing. Sportsnet was the first one. A year before I retired, actually met with the guys there and got that figured out. But as far as doing it with NBC and stuff and World Curling, that kind of came after not getting to the Olympics in 2014. We lost the semi to go to that Olympics, and then I was retiring no matter what that year. And on the Monday morning, Rebecca Chapman from NBC phoned my house and said, "Hey, sorry you didn't win, but..." And then, so then I did the Olympics in 2014, and then I've done 18, 22, and now we'll be doing 26. So I really enjoy that because I love playing in the Olympics. We're lucky enough to play in 3 of them. But now to be able to have commentated 3 and then soon to be 4, that's pretty cool because it's high energy. It's tough. Like it's tiring because curling goes the entire Olympics. The final on curling is Saturday, and there is the men's hockey final Sunday. But from that Saturday, and then it starts 2 days prior to the Olympics starting, curling. Because with mixed doubles and 4-person, it takes more than the length of the Olympics. So if you're a commentator, that's you're putting in some hours.
Yeah. Well, obviously you won in 2010 in Vancouver. Were you there for the golden goal as well for Sidney Crosby?
In the building.
Behind the net. So it's very 6th row. Get this right. So in 92 in Albertville, we ended up losing, I'd like to say 3-1. Somebody will check that out. But 3-1, I think, was the final score against Russia. And we were in the 6th row behind the net. And there's a couple unknown people, this goalie called Sean Burke. Turned out to be a pretty good goalie, but nobody knew him then. And Eric Lindros. Nobody knew him then. Just a couple of junior kids, right? But they were really good. And they almost got the gold, ended up getting a silver that year. And then in 02, had seats for Salt Lake because Canada hadn't won the gold in 50 years, right? Yeah, in 50 years. And so we were behind the net on that one, saw that, and then in 2010 for Sydney's golden goal. Awesome. And that was quite the evening after that.
I can imagine. I mean, I remember so much from that Olympics, even though I was really young. But I remember Montgomery, the bobsledder.
If you notice, Sid, I didn't say anything.
But I remember him with the jug of beer going down the street.
Montgomery.
Oh man, those 2010 Olympics were something. Like so many memorable moments came from that, and obviously your gold medal as well. Showdown at the Saville. Where can people get more information, and how can they get down here and check it out?
Yeah, well, just come down here on any of those dates, April 4 to 6. The Saville website does a great job. For anybody entering, they're pretty full anyway. We won't worry about that. It's been awesome as far as that goes. But yeah, the Saville Sports Center website's the place to go and to come down and enjoy, especially those last 2 events, U25 and the World Championship. I mean, pretty cool. 29 countries. That's pretty phenomenal.
That is crazy to hear. Kevin, really appreciate you giving us some time. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks a lot.